special Fair Talk segment this morning. John Dvorak is with us. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Gordy. How are you this morning?
I'm doing fantastic, even though a little over an hour from now I'll be under the knife.
Well, we hope for the best for you.
Oh, I'm sure it'll go fine.
That's right.
I'm looking forward to having no more cloudy vision.
Well, that's got to be something that, you want to look forward to, and I just hope that everything turns out and you have a speedy recovery.
Yeah, well, I'm sure I'll be ripping and roaring and I'll have perfect vision for your fair. You have a guest with you today. You want to introduce?
I do. I have Jeff Schultz with me, and Jeff is playing a big part at our fair this year. Jeff was contacted by some individuals, and I believe it was through Farm Bureau, and they have several displays that they can bring from county fair to county fair and from activity to activity, and Jeff has been working hard with them, and he did secure some exhibits that we are going to incorporate into our children's barnyard this year, and I'm looking forward to what Jeff has to say here, because it sounds exciting. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to bring a lot to the fair, and I think everybody's going to enjoy it.
So how did you find out about this?
Well, Gordy, this actually started, it's been going on a couple of years. The Minnesota Farm Bureau has what they call the Ag Cab Lab, and it's actually been at the Miracle Birth Center up at the Minnesota State Fair, and it's had such a great reception that they've developed additional units that they can take to neighboring fairs and county fairs, and through the Dakota Rice, Corn, and Soybean Growers, where I'm secretary, we contacted Jeff Beckman from Denison, the local guy that's kind of coordinating this whole thing, and was asking him if we'd be able to secure it for the Rice County Fair, and it worked out. So we're really excited about it. It's a wonderful attraction that we can bring to enhance the children's barnyard.
Basically, this is a tractor simulator.
Exactly. I mean, what it looks like, and hopefully we get a few pictures up on the fair website so people can get an idea, but if they've been to the Minnesota State Fair, they've seen it. It basically looks like a tractor without wheels sitting on the ground that kids and adults can get in the cab. They turn on the computer and they act like they're driving that tractor, and there's a simulator screen in front of them showing them that they can be planting the corn, spraying the corn, combining the corn, feeding the animals, just simulating all the day-to-day activities that farmers do in those tractors, and it's a wonderful hit. The kids really love it.
Bale hay and all that stuff.
All the fun stuff, you bet, Gordy.
You can do all the fun stuff, but they don't have to do all the work. Ain't that great?
Isn't that
What
awesome?
was that when I was growing up?
It doesn't get any better.
Don't you wish it was that way now?
Well, that would take the fun out of it for me.
You like the hard work.
Yeah, that's right.
That's part of it you like. And this is very realistic.
It's very realistic. I mean, not only will we have the Ag Cab Lab, which is the tractor type device, they're going to have a mini barn also, which is set up more just like a video game, and that's what they call the ethanol racer, and you act like you're racing a race car. And part of the reason they call it the ethanol racer is ethanol has become a big sponsor in a lot of the racing sanctions. So you can play that, and then there's also going to be what they call a grain table, that there's going to be different examples of grain and stuff that we produce on the farm for people to really get their hands on it and understand what we do out on the farm.
Yeah, I get a feeling this is going to be a huge hit.
I hope so. And I agree with you, Gordy. It's a huge hit, and that's what the fair is all about. It's along with coming and enjoying the rides and everything that's going on, it's going to provide some education, and it's going to be a fun way to provide education.
We continue with John Dvorak, Executive Secretary of the Fair. And Jeff, what's your title in all this?
Gordy, I'm Jeff Schultz. I'm the Secretary of the Dakota Rice, Corn, and Soybean Growers, and that's my affiliation with John with the fair. I help coordinate the Ag Cab Lab that we're going to have at the Children's Barnyard. I'm also Kevin Eastram's right-hand man at the pork stand, and my real job is helping farmers with their livestock and grain marketing.
There's no better food around than the food at the pork stand.
We agree. Thank you, Gordy.
It's very, very delicious, don't you think, John?
It's up there. It's right on my list, and they do a great job. And not only that, but they're so supportive of the Rice County Fair. And I want to thank the pork producers, and I want to thank Jeff, because without these two organizations and the corn and soybean growers, Farm Bureau, this display wouldn't have been possible, because they're the ones that are behind it. The funds for it, naturally when this display comes around, there's a cost to it, and they told me that there would be no cost to the fair, that these several organizations were picking up the tab for it, and we greatly appreciate it. So people, please thank the corn growers and the soybean growers. They're out there not only looking out after the corn farmers, but the soybean farmers, but also looking out for every individual out there by providing these funds, so we can have these entertainment and these educational programs at our fair. So they're out there, they're working for us, and we need to give them all the credit, because they deserve it.
There's no cost for this, Jeff.
There's no cost to the Rice County. The corn and soybean.
I mean, the people who go in the.
Oh, correct. It's a free ride or attraction, no cost at all. The only regulation, and I hesitate to say that, but we're going to have 4-H and FFA members there just to help supervise, answer any questions. And because you're not paying a ticket and getting in a ride like you are in the carnival, just to keep people moving along, because these kids have a blast. You could easily sit in that thing for 3, 4, 5 minutes, and when you've got, I've seen it at the Dakota County Fair where it was lined up 100 people deep, and you've got to keep people moving. I mean, they're going to have a lot of fun, but that's the only request that we have, is respect the fact that everybody wants to see it, and it's going to be there the whole fair, so there's going to be plenty of time for people to get down there and see it.
What's the time limit going to be?
We'll use our judgment. I mean, the longer the line, you're going to move it a little quicker, but I mean, 30 seconds to a minute, I mean, kids are going to get an idea, and you just, if you got 100 people waiting, if you figure you give them a minute, that's a long line, so we're not going to want to make them wait real long, but we'll use our judgment, and we'll just try to keep everybody happy.
Yeah, it does seem to me that you could see lines that deep.
I'm sure, and I'm hoping that there'll be lines that deep, and we're excited. I mean, it's an attraction that we were working on it last year to get it. We couldn't secure it last year, and so we were promised that we would have one of the displays this year, and we are so fortunate that we are having what we have coming this year to the fair.
Did you see this at the State Fair, John, and approach them? Did the Farm Bureau approach you? How did this work?
Well, actually, it was, I've seen it at the State Fair, and it was something that was fairly new when I had seen it at the State Fair last year. Diane Horman was the person that took care of the children's barnyard, and she's seen it also, and she got the information that, hey, we could get a display like this at our fair, and so, there's 97 different counties, and not everybody has a county fair the same week, but there are several counties that do have the fair at the same time that the Rice County Fair goes on. With the limited access to the displays, we unfortunately didn't get it last year, but through Diane's hard work, and then with Diane's passing, Jeff took it over, and Jeff helped secure it, and so we're fortunate this year that it's coming to the fair.
So it sounds, Jeff, like this is not something we'll probably see every year.
Well, we'll see. I mean, part of the holdup last year, Jeff Beckman from Denison, who's a member of the Farm Bureau, he's been very instrumental in getting this thing actually constructed and made. And part of the reason it wasn't here for at last year's fair is this one that they were building to take to the county fairs wasn't completed yet. They just got it completed for the Dakota County Fair last year, and we had it, the Dakota Rice, Corn, and Soybean Growers had it up there at the Children's Barnyard up there, and it was just amazing, the reception that we had there. So once we knew it was constructed and viable and available, we contacted Jeff, and the dates were free. So yes, we're very, very pleased to have it here, and we'll just have to talk to them to see if it's going to be on a rotating basis or if we can have it here every year. I mean, obviously you'd love to have it here every year, but sometimes it gets a little bigger sales pitch, so to speak, if it's not here every year. But there's going to be new kids to see it every year, and people want to come back and see it, I'm sure.
Well, I tell Jerry all the time, I am truly concerned about our future in terms of growing food, because we've got fewer and fewer farmers all the time, and what better way to get them a little bit hooked on doing this than to have this simulator at the fair?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, our organization is very instrumental in sponsoring tours to the farm, and Kevin Eastrom and some of our other board members bringing the Ag in the Classroom programs to the elementary students, also sponsored by the Ag Committee from the Chamber of Commerce. And it is just truly amazing the questions that you hear from kids in Faribault that don't know how our food is produced, much less Kevin's been to New York City and California, and those are two very large agricultural states.
Yes.
When you get in the rural part of it, but in the inner city, I mean, they have no idea. And yet sometimes, I mean, I remind myself when I go through the grocery store, when you go through the produce line, you go and buy anything, you got to remember there's a farmer somewhere raising every one of those things. And here in the Midwest, we get very tunnel vision: corn and beans and milk, beef, pork, and that type of stuff, wheat for bread. And you realize there's people raising the cilantro, the avocados, the almonds, the lettuce, the radishes, all that, which isn't raised around here. And there's somebody farming with those foods everywhere somewhere.
Yeah, somebody's livelihood is dependent on that, John.
Exactly so, and you know, Jeff is right. There's so many kids in these schools today that don't have a concept whatsoever on where that food comes from, and this is a great way to get out there and promote it and give them an education and say, you know, make them think about, well, you know what, there's nothing wrong with being a farmer. You know, maybe that's something that you know, if you could plant that seed early, you know, you might develop, one of those kids might develop into being a farmer, wanting to be a farmer. And you know, unfortunately, it's very difficult nowadays to start farming with the expense.
A lot of capital needed.
A lot of capital needed, but you know, if we could get these programs going and there's a change in the way it's thought about, and maybe we can turn it around and we can get these young people back into farming. And you know, what they were saying, I was at a conference here not too long ago, the average age of a farmer is 62 and a half years old. You know, think about it. You know, what's going to happen in 10 years when that statistic is just going to keep growing unless we make it more affordable and make it so kids can get in there and start farming. And, you know, it's a vicious cycle, and it's hard to break that cycle, what's going on.
And a few years ago I had heard the figure was 58, so that tells you not a lot of young people are getting in, if it's 62 and a half now.
That's exactly right, and it's very hard to get into it. It's very hard for a young individual. Where do you get that capital to start out?
Hey, a Minnesota Fair Talk segment. We certainly appreciate John Dvorak stopping in each Tuesday to enlighten us about what's happening at this year's Rice County Fair. He brought Jeff Schultz with him today, and we're talking about, we have been talking about the tractor simulator, for lack of a better, it's called a lab though, right?
Ag Cab Lab is the official title, yes.
But it is basically a tractor simulator.
It's a tractor simulator, that's correct, Gordy.
Yeah, like the airline pilot said, they're simulators.
There you go, yep.
I might have to try my hand. This sounds very interesting. Don't you think, John?
I think, you know, maybe people would just kind of pay to even watch you do it.
I don't know about that. The good thing about this is you can't ruin anything.
If you get stuck, we don't have to pull them out.
That's exactly right.
Do you get stuck in the simulator, though? Do you know?
I'm not aware of that, Gordy. I'm not sure yet.
Okay. But you can do you can plant, you can harvest, you can do all that good stuff.
Correct, yes.
Got a knob in there where you just push a button.
Steering wheel and the levers and the whole deal.
Wow. This really something. What color is this?
It's an international, so it's red.
Uh-oh. Jerry won't be going in it then.
No, probably not.
He's green, you know, he bleeds green.
He's green, but I bet we might be able to get a picture of him in the tractor.
Well, that might be interesting. Well, John, I promised people I'd ask about food. We talked a little bit about the people who produce our food. Mm-hmm. We got some new food at the food booths at this year's fair?
We do have several new foods coming in. One of the individuals I have coming in is Brian Freed from Uncle B's Last Chance Barbecue Shack here in town. It just so happened that every time the Rice County Fair was going on, he was always scheduled to go someplace else, and this year we were able to get our dates to kind of all coordinate, and so he'll be coming to the fair this year with his stand. So people will be able to taste his locally barbecued foods. Brian does a very good job, and so we're excited. He's coming back. Last year we did have another individual that had barbecue, but unfortunately couldn't make our fair this year. So we're glad that we're going to have Brian at our fair this year. Also, another new person coming to the fair is Arna Farmer. She bought out the Exchange building from the Exchange Club, so she's going to be a new person taking over the Exchange building. In talking with her, she's going to have some of the same items on the menu as previously, but her new thing that she's going to do is she's going to deep fry cupcakes.
Ooh, those sound good.
And so she's going to have a deep fried cupcake. So looking forward to that. I have a individual coming out of Rochester, and he's going to serve a ice cream, and the ice cream will be in the center of a hot dough-like bread that he's going to cook it on the fair in front of you. So he'll be a new person coming in, and he'll be serving ice cream also. Have another new individual coming in, and she's going to be selling, her thing is Indian tacos. So we'll bring in a new, something new culturally from the Native American side. She's going to make some Indian tacos. So looking forward to that. Other than that, probably have the same individuals that have been coming to the fair, and some of these individuals have been coming to the fair for over 30 years. We're fortunate enough to, just to name off a few, Godfather's Pizza will be coming back, and Brad is a great individual, serves the Godfather's Pizza, and not only does Brad serve the pizza there, but Brad is a big supporter of the Rice County Fair, and he does a lot of sponsoring at the fair there, so glad to have him coming back. And Schroeder's Concessions, big fixture at our county fair, are coming back. Temple has also been a fixture at the fair, coming back. We got the BA stand. Naturally, they've been around for a long time. They're coming back, and we've got some Greek food coming back, and St. Luke's coming back. Kathy Heisey's coming back. We got the pork producers, we can't forget about them. And the 4-H building, they have their food stand in the 4-H building, plus ADA always comes, and we put the malt stand next to the 4-H building, and so they're coming back with the malt stand. So
always have to have a piece of pie over at the 4-H stand.
That's right. So it's a great thing, and there certainly is a variety of food. I feel like I have a good variety of food coming back, and there's something there that everybody will like. And what my big criteria is coming back to the Rice County Fair. I'll bring a new vendor in, but I like that vendor to have something new that I don't already have at the fair. I get tons and tons of applications. Everybody wants to make the hot dogs, and they want to make the French fries, and I'm looking for something that's new and unique that I don't already have. I'm working with the lady right now. I haven't heard back from her, but I'm hoping she comes. But she does a deep fried meatball sandwich, so trying to secure her to come back in. But time start running out, and a lot of vendors, they sign up for several different fairs, and if they can't get into one, they got their application into another one. So sometimes it becomes a little game that we play, who's going where, and I guess I can't blame them, because that's their livelihood, and they want to make sure that they're scheduled throughout the summer at county fairs, and so I try to accommodate them the best I can, and I think we do a pretty good job of that at the fair, and I think we have a good variety of food. I don't want to have too many vendors there, because if you have too many vendors, all of a sudden the vendors aren't making money and the vendors aren't happy. So I try to keep it around 28, 30 vendors, and that seems to be a pretty good number.
Well, you can read my mind. I was just going to ask how many food booths you got.
Yeah, this would be between 28 and 30.
Okay.
The one comment I'd make, John, I think you're to be complimented as a gentleman who's got kids in 4-H and spends pretty much every day at the fair, like you guys on the fair board, is there's a wonderful range of your typical fair foods that everybody wants their fix, but also there's some wonderful, very healthy options to give your digestive tract a relief of when you need some real food when you got a long day inside. I mean, I think we've got a wonderful blend of options at the Rice County Fair.
And we do, and you know, there's even several stands out there that I know Temple Concessions, you know, they are trying to serve a lot of gluten-free foods, you know, so we can accommodate those people that need to stay away from that. So we're working on it.
Yep, just wanted to touch on, I did talk to Kathy this morning, 7 candidates for this year's Rice County Fair Queen, 2 from Faribault, 2 from Northfield, 2 from Morristown, and 1 from Lonsdale. How cool is that?
Isn't that great? I mean, you know, it's you know, to go out into these communities and reach out and be able to get these young gals from, you know, the surrounding communities, not just Faribault. I think that's great, and you know, Kathy does a great job with this, and so, you know, I'm glad that it's filling up like it is, and hopefully between now and then there'll be 1 or 2 more. But you know, that's great.
Yeah, I think it's perfecto. Thanks, Jeff, for coming in.
You're very welcome, Gordy. Glad to be here.
Appreciate it. Look forward to seeing the tractor cab, the cab lab, at the Rice County Fair coming up again. The dates are July 21st through the 26th.